On in, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. Let's kick it off with a tell me something good. What good stuff is happening in your businesses today? Now, I have a list of them, but before I start rolling into them, Clark, what do you have? You always got something to share.
Yeah, new team members out of Stockton, Ernesto Garcia and Mariani Vasquez.
Boom, there you go. Round of applause. What do you got?
I joined Bill Pipe's coaching yesterday.
There you go.
Very happy.
This is incredible. All right, and then for people who are not here, Regina Navas on our team had a closing on Monday. James on our team, he got his first listing ever this week. So
Yeah.
And then we had 6 offers on one property in Sacramento.
Wow.
3 offers on another property in Sacramento. So properties are moving if they're priced right. Somebody on the team got a referral from a past client. And Ryan O'Malley, Mr. O'Malley, the Alley Cat, wrote his first, well, not his first offer, but wrote an offer this week as well. A lot of great things happening. What do you got?
Yeah, so Diana's listing, there was an escrow, fell out and went back in about 7 days.
Ooh, that feels good. That feels good.
Yeah.
And then I think you had some Angel.
Yes, and we have an agent and a team down in Santa Cruz. They're opening an EXP office down in Santa Cruz.
There you go. Every part of the world. Yeah, speaking of new agents, we had a guy named Bogdan join the team this week as well. So if you see a giant Ukrainian guy walking around, that's Bogdan. He's like 6'6". He's huge. And so we only hire people, Adrian and Adrian. So have you guys ever met Adrian? I don't know if Adrian's on the call. The Adrian's like 6'6", 6'7". And then when they met, it was like the 2 towers just like meeting each other. So we should have some apple donuts here later today. So if you see them come in, they're fresh from Apple Hill. Kathy Gove is bringing them in. So make sure you thank Kathy very much for bringing those all the way from Apple Hill. We do have some upcoming events. Next Thursday, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Next Thursday, Money Matters with Matt Plummer. So he's a fantastic.
He's amazing.
He's a super cool dude. Great story.
He's amazing. A high rock star.
There's a guy who I respect greatly who says never trust anybody that doesn't walk with a limp. This dude like walks with crutches. Okay. He's gone through a lot of stuff, but he's overcome it, and he's going to teach us how to do that as well. So this next Thursday at PCAR, it's free. And then coming up after that, we'll have EXPCon 2024. So if you are an icon or you think you're going to be working towards your icon status, this is like a free, I think it's an extra $8,000. Right, in terms of stock awards, if you attend EXPCon. If you're not going to be an icon, you still might want to go and check it out. You'll learn what's happening with EXP stock, with the EXP Corporation, and you'll meet some great players as well. And then coming up quickly in March, we have the best event ever. We're actually turning this into a family vacation for Valerie and I. The boys are going, Jack and Ben are going, so we're flying a whole bunch of people down. Because this is just a fun time. So not only is it fun, but it's also it's a tax write-off, and you're learning a lot of great things from top producers in the industry. Wow. And Ed Milet is confirmed. There's a contract on him that's been signed, so he's showing up for sure. Nice. And there's somebody else who, once we have the contract signed, is also going to be attending. So we can't say. Brent can say whatever he wants, but I'm not allowed to say until ink is on paper. But this guy's gonna be phenomenal. And there's an equally phenomenal speaker that's gonna be attending as well. So you're gonna want to get that. I bought the tickets. By the way, have you guys noticed how Southwest is like outrageous lately?
Yeah.
Has anybody tried?
Yep.
So if you're like, what the heck, Southwest is unreasonable. Tickets are too much. I can't go. Check out Alaska Airlines.
Yeah.
Go on Kayak. Go on Expedia. Go somewhere else. And the round trip tickets I bought them last week. $400.
Yeah, it was 700 for 2, a little over 700 for 2
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Round trip, direct flight.
Direct flight.
Direct
Alaska Airlines. So get them before Clark and I.
Yeah.
Lexi, some of us just take a bathing suit
Not all of us think.
And you can-
Yeah,
you can
it varies.
It sounds like it's really very suitcase.
That's all you need.
That's disturbing coming from you.
Yeah, my speedos are all that go down.
Barry's bringing the banana hammock and nothing else.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Some things you can't unsee.
Something you cannot see. Leaks on the brain. All right. And so with that happy introduction, let's welcome up to the front room our in-house lender, Miss Lindsay Boris.
Guys, JJ, unfortunately couldn't be here today, but I wanted to share with you guys something that we recently put together within our office and also for your team. And just wanted to kind of give you an idea of some of the tools and resources that we have for you guys as agents. And Jake, Kurtz, oh, microphone. Is that better? So Jake Kurtz, that sits in the office here every day. Our office is just at the end of this walkway here. He has a lot of resources. He's always available and willing to put together those options for you. But Miss Regina had an idea on our last meeting that I kind of copied and ran with, and it ended up being really successful in our office. And a lot of our loan officers are starting to put something like this together too. So we put together a sample open house binder that has a bunch of different resources, and I'll pass this around so that you're kind of organized all in one spot. Has a bunch of different materials for you to take to your open houses for your client, or for your potential buyers. Home tour checklist. We did like 5 or 10 different copies of a bunch of different, so that if someone comes through and they're potentially looking, I have a home, but I don't want to have to sell it and be contingent, right at hand. Oh, I've got something, a bridge loan option for that. I'm a first time home buyer. I'm nervous and I'm not sure what to expect. We have our first time home buyer guides and resources. A veteran, I'm a firefighter or a nurse. Kind of something at hand. I'm a first time home buyer. I might need down payment assistance, what have you. Regina had said that she had something, so kudos to her for the idea.
Yeah.
She had something very similar that she put together for herself, and we thought that that could be a great resource to offer to you guys to put together for you. So when Jake is here, we have a system called Total Expert, and it has tons of, these are just kind of a snippet of some of our most popular ones. We have hundreds of flyers that can all be co-branded and tailored to you. Same with our start passing this down if you want. Same with our home buyer guides. And they are, she had this idea that this is how she keeps herself organized. I thought that could be a great way to have something like that. So if you guys thought something that you wanted, we could have Jake sit with you, pick out the materials that you want, and then we would package and put it all together for you. So you guys have this. Part of that system too, that when you are in contract, if you've experienced that with us, you get lots of email updates. The system as well, once you're in contract, will give you updates really at every milestone, a Friday recap, along with the communication that you have with our team. So just wanted to kind of show you guys what that could look like for resources, just trying to find other ways to bring you guys value. If that's something that you wanted to help us put together for you, we'd be happy to. And we'll leave a sample of that at Jake's office so that we can, you guys can thumb through it if you want, but just wanted to show that. We've had a bunch of our loan officers that are putting those together for themselves as well to bring to open houses. So that was mostly what we wanted to share with you guys today. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'd be happy to help put that together for you.
Awesome. Yeah, what questions do you have for Lindsay? Interest rates going up, so we have no questions.
Right? Yeah, same.
Yeah. Awesome. So
All
these,
right, thanks, guys.
yeah, thank you. Round of applause, Miss Lindsay. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you to Gina for coming up with that brilliant idea. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm here typically early on Saturdays, well, relatively early. And what I see is two things. One, either the office is completely dead, there's nobody here, or two, there's a bunch of agents frantically printing their open house flyers. Okay. And so they're all stacked up, and we're all trying to get our flyers printed in time. What this binder allows you to do is, if you're frantically trying to get ready for an open house, just grab your purse, grab whatever it is you got, and this open house binder, and you're ready to go. Okay, yes, you will want the flyers, but this way you have like resources with you every single time. I see Lexi's wheels turning because she's got a similar asset that she uses with a little folder. So some other assets that you can include in this, because we're always saying, hey, who has trouble getting people to sign in at open houses? No, nobody. You guys all have. All right.
I do it on my.
Let me ask you it a different way. Who has a high success rate, or who feels frustration when somebody says, "Hey, yeah, call me back. I'd love to work with you," and then they go, "Shit."
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. There we go. Hey, there's that. Everybody, give a round of applause. Thank you so much. Fresh from Apple Hill.
Yum.
All right, so before Barry speaks, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna gorge on donuts, and then we'll come back in. It'll be a 60-second break. What you can do in addition to this, so what's the reason why they're not calling us back is because they don't think that we have anything that they want. This gives them a visual proof. Hey, here's some programs that my specific loan officer has. The other thing you can do is there is a list of off-market properties, and we've all been trying Zenlist, but a lot of people aren't using Zenlist. Reach out to Jose, and he can get you access to a group of teams in the area that are creating a list of off-market properties. So what you can do is you might maybe print that out, maybe, or say, hey, would you like to see some off-market? If you're shopping, what's on the, how have you been looking at homes? Oh, I've been looking on the MLS. My agent sends me stuff. It's on the MLS. Great. Well, if you're just looking on the MLS, you're only shopping leftovers. What if I were to send you some off-market properties that interest you? Okay. So if you're only shopping leftovers, if you're looking on the MLS, and then that's something else you can use in that. So how I would do it, I would just have like a list of off-market properties, or say, do you want a list of off-market properties? So as they're flipping through, you can see that. And then the other thing you can do as well is, again, reach out to Jose. And what we do is we publish every single Friday a list of motivated sellers. Who, if you're a buyer out there, who wants a great deal on a property? They all do. All right. So if you want a great deal on a property, who better than a list of motivated sellers? And so Jose can outline for you exactly how we do that. It's pulled from the MLS, and you can tailor fit that and make it custom to you. So in addition to the binder, here's some other things you can do to amp up your open houses. Is this helpful?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, and then the last thing I'll say before Barry gets up here is I actually was trying to listen to a book. I said, hey Siri, play Ed Milet. He's the speaker that's coming up, and who's gonna be presented in Cabo. And they started playing this really cheesy, like, voice song, but it was Ed Milet and a bunch of other like Zig Ziglar's, Tony Robbins, like a bunch of them all stitched together, saying inspirational things. And I thought, okay, this sounds horrible. What they're saying is pretty profound. And I wrote one down because I was like, hey, this is exactly what I needed to hear. So maybe you can benefit from it as well. And it said life, and one of the guys said, life gives you what you fight for. So take a survey of your life. What have you fought for? Is your health where you want it to be? Is your business where you want it to be? Is your marriage where you want it to be? Because whatever you have fought for, right? Whatever you have committed time, that's what you've received. In a similar vein, we've all seen, people reach the heights of fame and then come down and be broke, right? But why does that happen? If only I had all this money, if only I had what they had, I wouldn't squander it away. But oftentimes, how many times do we do that? How many times do we have a closing? Do we get a tax break only just to go, man, if I only had that money back again? And the reason why is because we're not fighting for it. Ed Milet says we go back to whatever our thermostat is set at. So if your thermostat is set at broke, or your thermostat is set at 10 grand a month or 60 grand a month or whatever it is, that's what you're going to, you may break through, the room may heat up a little bit, but you'll fall back to whatever your thermostat is set for. So I just encourage you all today, life gives you what you fight for. Just pay attention and focus on what you're fighting for. All right. So with that, you guys are quiet today. You're making me nervous. All right. You guys excited for Barry? Yeah. All right. Give me a round of applause.
You're bringing the donuts in here. All right, do you want me to have the donuts brought in?
Oh yeah. We'll bring
Yeah, go
those.
grab some donuts, guys. You want some?
No, we'll bring them in. You guys
We'll
taste
bring
them
them
in.
in.
We'll bring
Okay.
them.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. If you've heard me speak before, I tend to go fairly fast, but this is being recorded. If you have questions, feel free to stop me. Some of the stuff you've heard me talk about before, I'm gonna try to incorporate some new stuff into it. But we're gonna run through some numbers today. You don't have to understand all the numbers, understand the concepts. You can always get with me later and get the materials and the spreadsheets and things for the numbers. And I will apologize, I don't have a presentation this way, so I'm gonna be looking backwards. I use notes, PowerPoints as notes. And so we'll go ahead to the next slide. Thank you very much. Jamal, thank you so much for always having this ready to go. I know how much work that takes. All right, so I told you I'd have a lot of numbers, and here they are. All right, so what are you looking at? We're looking at a house that is 2 doors down from my house, right? Just listed on the market, 500,000, probably a little bit on the lower side for what it is. And that house with a $3,000 rental, which if you know me, you know I kind of know what rents are. And so $3,000 rental, purchase price of $500,000. And this is the key number right here. 567 loss, 6805 loss. You're going to lose your client if they buy this property with 20% down. They are going to lose $7,000 in cash flow in the first year. That's a pretty nice rental. $3,000 a month is pretty good for a rental. I know you've got a lot of rentals. That's pretty good rent. $3,000, not bad. But when we look at it, if you truly take out all the costs, if you look at this column here on the left side, you can see those orangish yellow numbers. That's basically percentage that you should be thinking about when you're analyzing a property. Roughly 15% is going to go to some type of expenses, not counting your mortgage. Okay. So that 15% is going to add up, and that's going to eat up a lot of your cash flow. So this is the market we're in. 6.5% interest for an investor, 20% down, just doesn't cut it on cash flow. But before we move on, if you've heard me speak, there are 5 returns on investment. Down at the bottom, you'll see the 5 sources of return on investment. One is from cash flow, big whopping negative 30%. One is from loan payoff. That's the value that your tenants are paying down your loan every month. One is from interest deduction. One is from depreciation, and one is from appreciation. Now, if you notice, even though you're losing $6,800 a month on paper, in reality, you're making a 14% return already. If you're familiar with the law of 72, a 15% return says that you double your money in what? I mean, is that 7 years? 7 years, I think it is, right? Or no, it's less than that. It's about 5 years. Yep. All right, so divide 15 into 72, and that's what you get. So we're not going to spend time on that. We're going to jump to the next one. What do we do to get this cash flow back, right? Your clients want cash flow. When you start talking to them about the other ROIs, their heads kind of glaze over.
So are you saying that even though it's a loss, it is a good investment for the client?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I took one of my best friends, put his kids into a property, and those kids will lose money every month, yet they're still making money in the long run. Okay. So go ahead to the next slide. All right. So what do you need in order to make that cash flow? You need to back a truck up with some money. So instead of 20% down, you need 40% down to cash flow in this market. That's just the way it goes. You can boost that a little bit by changing the asset type, maybe going to a duplex, maybe going to a fourplex, finding a good deal. Those are all ways, but your client should not be thinking that they're going to buy a property for 20% down and cash flow. If they do that, then there's probably some hidden costs that you're not putting in the fact that they're going to have to dump $40,000 into it in order to make it a real property, right? So there's some CapEx that's deferred. If their CapEx is not deferred, the other way is they're going to be in a part of town that's going to cause them to have high turnover, and your cost of dealing with the tenants is going to go up. So in a normal great situation, you're just not finding a lot of cash flow right now. Now, here you go. Look at this one with a 39% down. Your cash flow has come back. You're making a little bit of money, not much, just about breaking even. And your annual return has gone up to 22% from the 14%. So that's kind of where you're at on some of these things. So what are some of the things we could do to negate these numbers, these realities, right? I'll give you a quote. The quote is that in theory, practice and theory are the same, but in practice, they are not. Now, I told people that was a quote by Yogi Bear, but I was wrong. It actually was Yogi Bear. And Yogi Bear was a football player, not a cartoon. I mean, a baseball player, not a cartoon. Yeah. It actually goes to Einstein, and before that, it went to Bob Bridget, way before that, in 1800s. But anyway, you get what I'm saying? In reality, this is all a way to make money long term. I don't know any investors who own property that bought them that are concerned about whether they made money in the first year or two. The ones that bought them and hold them are all very happy because those things are really kicking down money. If you everybody in this room should understand an amortization table. Everybody in this room should understand that your payment is going, even though your payment remains fixed, your equity in the property is climbing because you're paying off that loan. And that's where some of that comes from. Your tax deductions. The people that are buying these properties usually are in that 32% bracket. Some of them might still be in the 24% bracket. So they need that shelter to shelter that money. And that's why it has such a big deal. The depreciation value, insurance companies understand depreciation. That's why they own the apartment buildings, is they're depreciating those big assets and writing off all their massive cash flow that they're getting. All right, we're going to jump to the next one. We're going to go into a few things you can do to tweak your returns. You know, your return matters if you get 28 versus 31. It matters, okay? One of the downsides about real estate is that about rentals compared to regular real estate is that in sales, do you believe that you can sell a property? I've got some very experienced real estate agents in here. Miss Valerie, can you sell a property for 10% higher than the market?
Yeah.
You believe so? Consistently, you can outperform the market by 10%.
Not 100% of the time. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's difficult.
Yeah.
I think rarely will a person buy a property because they have access to all the data. Rarely will someone buy and overpay by 10%. And because of that, the reason that, I mean, unless their grandma lives down the street or something and it's something special, right? But because of that, you just don't see it happening a whole lot. If a good experienced real estate agent says it's worth 500, it's usually worth pretty close to 500, right? And how do we know this? We know it by looking at the asking sold price in the trends, and you'll see statistically, it doesn't really vary that much. It's usually around 3 to 4% under what it was listed for. So in the rental market, guess what? I can rent a property for 10% more than I should. I can rent it all day long. If you come to me and say, I absolutely have to get this, I'll probably be able to hit that 10% higher number. The reason is that the tenants that are going to rent 10 and pay 10% more, they have to, because they've been turned down at 6 different places, right? They have something in their situation that's going to cause them to try to get into something, even though they're overpaying for it. So you have to be careful with rentals because you're pushing the envelope in rentals causes you to get a bad tenant. That's what, and so you can do it. You'll just get a bad tenant.
It's a risk.
It's a risk. Yeah, you increase your risk dramatically. Now, how do you push the envelope and not increase the risk? Do some of these things I'm fixing to tell you. That's the point of this class, right? Taking professional photos. I don't have to tell you guys the difference between having cell phones are getting pretty good if you take the time to know how to use it right. I'm not saying you have to do paid photography every time. If you really learn how to use your cell phone, hey, this camera takes a great picture, right? So, but get it done, make good pictures, take the time to do it right. Next slide. I don't have to tell you, this is beautiful. If you make your rental look like this, you're not going to have any problems. You don't have to go this dramatic, but the same thing someone would do for a listing is what you want to do to attract good tenants, right? So that good tenant is probably more likely to be driving the neighborhood on a rental than they are in a sale, right? They'll still use online presence, but they're probably more likely to call me off of a sign call. You know me, I've done a lot of sales, I've done a lot of rentals. I get more sign calls off of rentals than I would on sales. Okay, and so that updated appearance means the right people are calling. That's the trick to it. Get the right people calling. Next slide, please. Smart features. The same things that would make you feel when you feel good about coming home to something. Your tenants are the same way. They're no any different. By the way, doesn't matter the asset class, right? You can be in Del Paso, right, and have a low-end rental, and you clean it up and make it look nice. The single mom that comes in and rents that wants her baby to be able to crawl on the floor, just like you do in Granite Bay, right? There's no difference in that. Every mom wants the same thing for her family, right? So keyless entry systems, smart thermostats, door openers, automatic door openers, things like that. Just be careful with those techie things that you don't over-tech the property, right? And that whatever you put on there is transferable. A lot of people will do these camera systems and things like that. You got to be able to get yourself off the camera system and transfer it to the tenant. You can't have your Ring cameras turned on and be tracking what your tenants are doing. That's not gonna work. So you gotta be careful in that sense, but you get what I'm saying here. Try to upgrade the property a little bit. Here's something as simple as the blinds. We put in a certain style of blinds, they raise up and down by themselves. Not by themselves, you have to lift them, but they hold in place, right? And they don't have the cords and the strings. That's a little upgrade, but it makes the place feel nicer, okay? Next one. This is a biggie that doesn't cost as much as you might think. Providing additional storage space. Can you take a space underneath the closet and put in a pantry? I mean, underneath the stairs and put in a pantry? In most cases, you can. Could you take an oversized bedroom and add more closet space? Most cases, you can. I go into these master bedrooms sometimes, and they're monstrous bedroom for no reason. I mean, put a king bed in, put some bed tables around it, and you still have a lot of room. Build something in, get a little extra storage. Outside, that little storage unit, I think that's on the Amazon for like $400, right? What does that do to your client, to your tenant, who, by the way, is your customer? We call our tenants customers as often as we can. Sometimes we forget, but it's a customer. I'm helping in my property management business. I'm helping you serve your customer. If you're in the business of running a rental, does that make sense? And so here, you throw this thing out there, adds just a little bit of money to you, and it keeps those tools out of the house. It might even keep the gasoline out of the house, which might be a good idea. Next slide. Dishwashers. Guess what? You want a dishwasher? They want a dishwasher. This one might cost you a little bit if you don't have access, but in most cases, I can tie that dishwasher right into the same drain that is running on your sink, and we don't have to do any real expensive work, just a little bit of counter work underneath. Okay. Makes a big deal. Go ahead, next one. On-site washer and dryer. Guys, if you have 2 bedrooms or more, you absolutely need to have an on-site washer and dryer. I don't know where you're going to put it if it's not already there. We'll put it outside if we need to, right? If you go into a lot of neighborhoods in the North Highlands, Del Paso area, the washer and dryers are outside. You might think, well, that would never work for me. Well, it will for your tenant if it keeps them from having to go to the laundromat. How would you like to spend your day at the laundromat? No. Okay. I would tell you, I would complain about doing the laundry, but I don't really do any. I have one of those laundry mats at my house. We have a service. So I drop the stuff on the floor. Next thing I know, it winds up in my drawer.
It's a magic floor.
I know. They are good. Yeah.
Simply.
I'm gonna tell my wife. She'll be really relieved. Okay. Next one. The magic floor. Okay. This is another one that people don't think about, but it makes a big difference. A little extra parking spot, right? A little secret here. If you have grass in that spot, your tenants are going to park there anyway.
Yeah.
And then you will get a citation from the city, and then we have this letter sitting on our desk, citations from the city for people parking on the grass. It's one that Sacramento City likes to hit you on, right? And so then you've got to deal with that, and you got to keep telling them not to do it. Well, just pour some concrete. They need it, okay? Not a big deal, and it will make your house more attractive when it comes up for the next tenant. Next one. Central heat and air. We're in the land of 110 degrees, and I'm telling you, you need central heat and air. If you don't want to do central heat and air, these little cooling systems, this is similar to Mitsubishi, is a brand that goes a lot. I have one that we install from called Mr. Chill, and that Mr. Chill system doesn't have to have a contractor install it. So a handyman to put it in. My teams put them in on one of my properties. The unit itself is slightly more expensive because it comes with charge lines. So that's how they get away with not having a contractor. You have to have a special license in order to install these things. But if you have a charge line, it never releases the chemical into the air. So anyway, so that's a good system. This is probably, let's say, central heat and air could probably be, I don't know, 15,000 if you don't have the vents to run it. So you have to, a good portion of it is to run the vents. Go ahead.
Forgive me, charge line, meaning it's an internal closed system?
Yeah, so it's I'm trying to think of what else is a charge line.
Refrigerant's already in it.
Yeah.
Refrigerant.
So basically, it's like, yeah, a water hose kind of that you just pull back the coupling and connect it in, so nothing ever releases. Like you could do it in outer space, right? So nothing would ever get out.
But it still cools the outside without releasing the chemicals.
Yeah, the only thing you have to use it for is setting it up the first time, right? So once you make that connection, you never have to uncharge it, right? So unless there's a leak, right? So, but contractors charge a lot of money to put in AC systems. That's why they come up with this system. So do it yourselfer could do it, right? Central heat and air, probably around $15,000 if you don't have the ductwork. What a lot of people don't realize though, if you have forced air for your heater, most of the time a contractor can use the same ductwork to provide the AC. And an AC unit in itself is not really that expensive, probably only about $3,000 to $4,000 for the AC unit itself. Okay, next one. All right, now we're going to get into how are we doing on time. All right.
Is this helpful? Is this good?
Yeah. All right. So before I go into this next section, those are all things that you can do to normal, what we call traditional rentals, is what I've been referring to. Does anybody have any questions on those traditional rental aspects? Anybody online? Yeah.
So, I know somebody who bought a property, they were trying to buy it as an investment property to lower their tax burden before the end of the year. And then they were like, it wasn't as beneficial as they hoped it would be. But then you hear a lot of people buying apartment complexes and houses to lower their tax burden. I know you're not a tax guy, but can you provide some clarity or expectations around if we're having clients want to buy a property before the end of the year?
Yeah. Can you pop back to the first slide? Sorry. That had the chart on it. Because what you're getting into is these returns on investment. The taxable events are return on investment from deduction, return on investment from depreciation. Those two are your big tax items, right? And so let's just take interest. The way the formulas are behind this, I've given you the resulting number and the percentage of the value. But let's look at that $21,000. That $21,000 should be, if I'm doing it correctly, about 70% of the debt service. So debt service is basically your payment, and your interest of that payment is going to be about 70% your first year. And that 70% goes then multiply this number times your tax bracket that gives you the actual value. So if you're in a 24% bracket, the value of the interest deduction for this property would be worth 7% less to you than it would be if somebody was in the 32% tax bracket. So you need both. That's why it's hard to explain sometimes, because you need to know your client, right? By the way, there's some rules that get into long-term and short-term and stuff like that. If you don't know your client's tax bracket, you're not really able to give them good advice. So you don't have to be a tax professional, but figure out how much money they make and look up the tax bracket, and then you can explain interest deduction.
Can you force depreciate like the whole
Go back again.
all the improvements?
You can, but I don't know enough about it. I've been told that you could take all the improvements in 7 years. I haven't studied that yet, so I need to know that. This is just traditional. This is what the next stage is, this depreciation. So depreciation is the same concept, except the IRS in its infinite wisdom says that if you own a single family home, it will be worth 0 in 28 years, right? So basically what they're basically saying is the cost of maintaining it will run it down to 0, even though we know it's not, right? So you take that 28.5 years, 27.5, and then you divide that into the purchase price of into the value of the purchase price of the house minus the land cost. And so that's your improvement cost. When you get that number, that's where that 14.5 came from, right? And now I take that against the tax bracket and I generate another return. Does that make sense? So both of those are tied up into that. Your loan payment, and what you're taking against, the other missing piece of this, is the number you put into it. And so in this case, it's that 105 number up there. So you have 105,000 in this investment. This investment gave you a return, a value, and that value was 4.3% for the depreciation. That value was 6.44% for the interest deduction. It was 8.62% because the tenant's paying down your loan. So you see how you're getting this return on investment? Most people look at it and they confuse return on investment to just cash on cash return, which is that cash flow number, right? And that's not what we're doing. Okay, we're looking at return on investment. Okay. Any other questions on that? Did you understand all of that? You get to deduct the interest, you get to deduct the depreciation, you get the value of the cash flow, positive or negative, and you get the appreciation. This is factored at 5%. You can factor it at anything you want. Okay. And go back to the longer term. Now, you may have heard people talking about short-term rentals. I'm sure you have now. In reality, I think the short-term rental bus has already came and maybe not gone. Still, people are making a ton of money. I tell you, I have a short-term rental on the other side of me at my house, and that dang thing is full all the time, right? She has an experience. She's an Asian lender from the Bay Area. I can't pronounce her last name. I think it's like Xiao, right? And she's got a friend of hers that runs the site for her, and they know what they're doing. They keep it good. There's not wild parties. Sometimes there's a lot of people, but so far we have not experienced. This has been going on for 2 years now. We haven't experienced wild parties. We've just been normal stuff. However, you're going to find that there's some issues with this. You can boost your revenue return. Absolutely. If you're getting that thing filled up on a regular basis, there's a site called AirDNA. You need to write that down. AirDNA. If any of your clients wants to know about a property, do you think this would be a good short-term rental? Go to AirDNA. Okay. You might have to get a membership. I might have a membership. So if you check with me, I might can show you, but I think my membership is either city or zip code specific. Okay. 4 times revenue, not unheard of, right? So if I can rent it for $3,000 and you had it fully leased out as an Airbnb, getting $12,000 in revenue is not unheard of. And it doesn't have to be a crazy property. The property next to me is a normal house that I wouldn't even list to sell without painting and redoing the landscaping. But it has 4 or 5 bedrooms and it stays full, no pool in the backyard, nothing fancy in Citrus Heights, right? But it stays full a lot. Okay. Your expenses are going to be higher. That cleaning is probably going to be one of your biggest expenses, right? You got to get that cleaner in there. If you have a cleaner that you know and respect, they can come in there and knock it out. Great. You got to get somebody you rely on. It's probably the biggest thing you'll get hit on trying to run it. And if you run your reputation down in the Airbnb reputation thing, if they start giving you bad marks, it will flat out hurt your vacancy factor. Okay. Regulations. I say 4 times regulations. I don't know if that's accurate or not. There's a lot of regulations. You could be in an area that has no regulations, or you could be in an area that almost won't let you do it anymore. If you go into like South Tahoe, up near the Tahoe, Lake Tahoe, you're not doing Airbnb, right? It's just not going to happen. Really understand that before you commit to a client that says, hey, I want to boost my returns by doing short-term rental. Let's find out where you're at. Let's find out where it's friendly to do it at. Because if it ain't friendly, it's going to be hard or you're going to do it illegal. And by the way, a lot of people do them illegally, but I wouldn't want to be involved in a real estate transaction where you told them it was okay. They did it illegally and you wind up getting involved later. Your best friend will sue your ass off when they start losing money. 4 times management. We charge a high rate for that. We charge 25% of the revenue coming in because it's a management nightmare. We basically have to create a hospitality business for you. There are companies I would actually recommend using a company. If you're going to do this, use a company that's done a hell of a lot of it. Like they need to have 200 of these things active at one time, right? Okay, next one. Midterm rentals. Here's a couple of things. I think you know the concept. Midterm is a lot of people are switching to coming out of short term, right? So they're coming out of short term, going to midterm. And when they're doing that, the reason is they both have to have furnished, right? They're both furnished. The quality of your furnishing needs to be good. Okay. This is not time for you and your college buddies, all the furniture that you don't want at your house to go into this one. No, this is time to go out, go shopping, probably get a stager to help you do this to make it look right. Okay.
For these, you also have to have like TVs in the rooms.
Yep.
I mean, if they don't, because I have a friend who does this and they just do a room instead of the whole. So you furnish it, you have the bed, you have the TVs, and you have to clean the bathrooms and everything.
So for a midterm rental, your expenses are going to be higher. You're basically running the power, you're running the electricity, you're running the cable, you're running it as if someone was going to live there and all they have to do is write you a check. Okay. So that's the idea is they just write a check. Brent would love it, right? Write a check. That's it. Okay. Regulations, not so bad. The way you get around the regulations a lot of times is you you keep it over 30 days. So your regulations for short term usually don't hit unless it's under 30-day rental. You keep that regulations over and it's really just like a regular rental. It is going to have more management or at least that's what I thought. We have a few of these properties that we manage, and frankly, they came in, they paid the higher price, they took it as it was, and we never hear from them again. And they're just there, and they're there longer than other tenants are. We thought there were gonna be higher turnover. So far, that hasn't been the case. They've been actually pretty good. Next slide. We advertise those on some special sites. You saw some of them. There's a few others that we go out and advertise too. We also get those into the insurance community as well. The insurance companies will need properties for a short amount of time. Okay, so co-living. This is something that's beginning to get popular. Matter of fact, it's so new that the biggest player doesn't even work in Sacramento. Pad Split is the largest player in the country on this. And they don't operate in Sacramento. It's the same kind of thing, except we're co-living. We've got multiple people that aren't connected to each other living in the same property. So you might have, this is where this really gets good, is when you can, that house I showed you earlier, you could buy that house for 500 and then take out the big oversized dining room, make that into a bedroom, take out the oversized living room, make that into a bedroom. That 4-bedroom is now a 6-bedroom. When you start renting all 6 rooms out, you're getting hella good return. Okay, we're really boosting your return up. Management's also a little bit of a nightmare, as you might imagine. You really have to do a lot to set that property up for success. But you're co-living. The way you get around the short term is the first rental agreement with that person that's renting the room is going to be a 30-day rental agreement, and then it's going to go week to week after that. Okay, and so you're charging by the week. Now, Pad Split has some great software for that. We think we can internally manage that in our software as well. So we're looking now at our first investor that's looking at doing this to see how that works out. But it is working out well all over the country. Now, you might think, what kind of nightmares come with that? Every kind you can imagine. And so it is a management nightmare, and it has potential for higher liability, but it also has potential for 3, 4, maybe even 5 times as much revenue. And so depending on that situation, whether you can make that work or not.
So Barry, how do you balance the risk with the reward? Do you vet the roommates, or is that the tenant's job?
The tenant's job,
Well, whoever, it's a pass.
so if I'm managing the any property I manage, I vet everybody.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But how much vetting are you going to do that's going to tell you whether somebody's going to be a messy roommate
Or they're gonna get along and not. kill
or
each other.
whether they're going to get along? Yeah, it just becomes a management nightmare.
Makes sense.
You can't get rid of all issues, right? So if one person wanted to attack another person, it's easier in that environment.
Sure.
But it's also, they could do it off the street as well. So I mean, it's like, you're not going to get rid of all liability. So what we're looking for is to do returns and see where we can returns and cover risk with returns. Any other questions?
It seems like there's like annual leases, monthly leases, and now we're down to weekly leases. Can you rent these by the hour?
No.
I'll come out of the back door.
Somebody.
Yeah. Valerie, I'm right here.
Tom, don't tell
Yeah,
me.
I know. Yeah, you're right. Brent is right. At the airport, they now have room that you can rent by the hour to relax and I'm sure
To
that
relax.
nothing other than sleeping ever.
Yeah.
I've rented them, it's not weird.
That kind of makes it weird. All right.
With my wife.
All right, guys. So hey, here's the thing. You can make money in real estate. And what do they say about planting trees? The best day to plant one is yesterday, right? Today is the second best time. So get out there, buy more property. I believe that the more property that you control in the long run, that's going to be a better life for you. It's really one of the areas that doesn't get, even though it's under attack in California, especially, it is under attack a lot. But you know why we put up with it? Is because we're still making money, right? Why do I have hundreds of landlords that rent their properties out? Because they're still getting great returns. It's a divergent flow from the stock market. If you counted, I've often said that if you look at the stock market, they roll back in dividends when they're counting the percentage of gain. When people don't roll back in rental income as a dividend, when they're looking, they say, oh, the rental market goes up 6%. No, it doesn't, because you didn't count the fact that you were getting a dividend of thousands of dollars, $30,000, $40,000 as it was going out. If you calculated that into it, you would be comparable to any stock market return. If you calculated back into it, the value of the depreciation, the interest deduction and those kind of things, you're gonna trump the stock market in a big way. Okay? Any questions? And if you are looking for a property manager, we manage a couple hundred properties and we'd like to manage your properties. We take good care of your clients. EXP, by the way, I'll address the elephant in the room. EXP does have another company. They actually will pay you a little bit more than I do for referrals. I don't know what happens to your client after that. So that's what the issue is. The big difference is who takes care of your clients. All right.
I was just gonna say that, kind of a testimonial for Barry, from the time that I think you took pictures to the time a tenant was moving in, was maybe 2 weeks, maybe. And there was, how many people do you think applied? I know there was
Oh,
like
no, it was a lot.
four that you told me of.
Yeah.
That were kind of like the top people that had been vetted, but from photos to listing to screening applicants to them moving in was less than 2 weeks. And it was fast and easy, and so, yes.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
To you.
I am known for a lot of things, but being slow ain't.
Actually, I wanted to put a plug for you, Barry, because I've been working with lots of investors that are looking, and Barry has just been so instrumental in giving me the data and the help to really help guide the clients to good decisions. So I can't thank you enough for all the work you've done.
I appreciate
You
that.
continue to do, like, we're still, there's a couple I didn't send you. But I really appreciate it. My clients
Maybe-
appreciate it too.
And part of what she's referring to, thank you very much for that, is send me over a property if you're considering it. I can put together some information on how much it cost, how much it'll probably rent for, and it gives you some talking points with your
It
client.
was amazing.
Thank you.
Can I say one other thing?
As long as you're talking about good things for me, yeah, absolutely. Hey, the rest of the evening.
It's a big negative, Barry.
We're seeing a lot of people that are taking when they're moving on to their next house, keeping their current property and renting that out. And that tends to, I have to imagine, have a much higher like monthly return because they're likely coming from a lower mortgage.
Yeah.
A lower interest rate. And so those are, I have to imagine, good, maybe you can.
Absolutely. I think that the biggest thing you can do, or anybody you know can do to change their overall financial picture, either play that lottery every week and hope it goes, or buy your first property that you did not buy as much as you could buy. The first one that you don't consume all the equity first. What do I mean by that? I mean, when you sell your house, I mean, you get ready to buy another house and you keep the old house. That right there will change your financial future for the kids and the grandkids right there. Because that one will build, and once you've done it once, you'll probably do it twice. And after you've done it twice, you'll probably want one for each kid. Next thing you know, you're going to have a portfolio or 10 properties will change your grandkids' lives just by doing that for a few years. Buy a property every 4 years. You're going to really be happy. The rents will continue to buy them. All right. Thank you guys.
By the way, Barry, we're gonna take a look at my first co-living property. You saw that one. It's a rental. Barry's gonna meet me. He has helped me every step of the way with a spreadsheet and all of that. So Barry does a great job. So I am buying flips. And so if you'd like to get 3 times the commission, you'll get 3 commissions, 1 on the listing. When you list it, 1 when you sell it to me, pay you, seller side commission, and then I'll relist it with you. So all cash as is. I'm doing flips, so keep that in mind. Pass these out, please. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, so we are very fortunate today. I woke up this morning, I was like, you know what? I haven't seen Brent in a long time. It would be so great if he was gonna be able to come and speak. Not only did he come and speak, but he and Kathy brought donuts. So everybody, please give Brent a round of applause.
Well, these just aren't, there's bringing donuts, and there's bringing Apple Hill.
Right.
There's a big difference. Do we all agree? So, anyways, good to see you guys. How you doing? Good. Good. So we have the crumb ones, we have the glazed ones, we have the whatever other ones. There's all kinds over there. Apple juice. So enjoy. It's the Who loves the fall? Anybody? It's the beginning of the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. I love it. So happy holidays, everyone. Will be the first to invite you. By the way, Rob, give me a thumbs up. Have we announced the Christmas party yet? So we're having a Christmas party this year. It's gonna be a bash for everybody. And the date is, when's the date? We're looking that up. We'll get that to you. So while we're doing that, we have beautiful graphically designed stuff, and you're gonna see it, but it's awesome. So we're gonna have it here at the office. Be live music, food, drink. Rumor has it Santa Claus will be here if you want to bring your kids, and we're just gonna make it super festive. Hot chocolate for the kids, and for you adults, hot tea. I don't know. We'll have something good.
From 6 to 8, we'll have a live band in here, Santa Claus.
There you go. 19th of December, 6 to 8 here. Come, it's gonna be packed, crazy chaos. It'll be fun. Come by for 30 minutes, come by for an hour, come by for 2, whatever, it'll be fun. So I'm gonna say that. Number 2, let's see. I want to tell you a story. For those of you who don't know, James Stroop, who's been my business partner here and helped me do this, that he and Jenny moved yesterday to Huntington Beach. They're doing it for 3 months. They're just trying it. So they decided, you know what? We're gonna Airbnb our place out. So they rented it out for 3 months. Barry talked about is that would be a short-term rental, maybe, Barry?
Airbnb, yeah.
Yeah, their neighbor 2 doors down freaked out. I'm reporting you to the HOA. He went ballistic. I used to be their neighbor. He was my neighbor, and it wasn't fun. But he's that kind of neighbor. But they're like, if you do over 30 days, there's not a thing they can do about it.
Yeah, that's been.
Yep, midterm. So they're doing this midterm rental. So real quick, they have a 3,000 square foot home, single story with the pool. What does it rent for? Those of you who know, don't say. But it's a nice, normal pool, but nice waterfall, little jacuzzi, a nice backyard. They have on a court. It's a pie-shaped yard, so it's a really nice.
It's not normal. Their house is not normal.
Yeah.
Normal for you.
They're not normal for you maybe, but not normal for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Okay, but their fence is antelope, so they're literally pushed up against antelope. And they're out in West Roseville, but it's very nice. It's very off PFE. It's off PFE Road, and it's in a suburbia. It's a total track home,
Quarter-acre lot.
but it's a super nice 3,000 square foot single story. I want to get rich. Who
Is it gonna
thinks
be fully furnished?
it was fully furnished?
Okay.
And 3 months. So who thinks it's at least 5,000 a month? Anybody? 6. Who thinks they got 6? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
He probably got
6.
No.
Come on, Steve. Come on. I want to be realistic. I want to see hands.
65.
So 5,000 or more, raise your hand. Everyone leave it up. Everyone put your hand up. Everybody. Okay, 6,000 or more, keep your hand up. 7,000 or more. 8,000 or more, 3,000 square foot home, track home. 9,000 or more. 10? My mom's crazy. This is my mom. So they got 14,000 a month. 14,000 a month. So listen to me. Should you buy a home or should you rent a home? Then people fight over it for 14,000 is a track home and with a pool. And they got the pie-shaped lot, which is not normal. I agree. It's awesome. It's a big backyard, but 14,000 a month.
Yes.
So should you, good job. I saw your hands up over here and here. I was setting the rest of you up. Poor Steve. I'm like, come on, Steve, get real. 10,000 a month. But so here's the deal. Is it better to rent? Are rents gonna go down? Are they gonna go up? People should absolutely buy a home. You need to have more conviction and passion than you currently have. You need to get fired up at your open houses. Enthusiasm is contagious. You are not enthusiastic. It is so easy to buy a house. You need no money. Trust me. My kids just bought a house. My 20-year-old son, he saved $30,000 taking ditches and pulling weeds. He did. You know how much money he used to it? Hardly any. My other kids bought a house. Dylan and Christina. It cost Dylan $750. It cost Christina $800. They bought a home in Rockland. It was the worst home in the neighborhood, like $235. It's worth like $580 now. They have $300,000, $350,000 of equity. Should you rent or should you buy? They could have rented the last 5 or 6 years. By the way, their friends did. Their friends have nothing. And they have coming up on $400,000 worth of equity, 200,000 each. And they're not even paying a thing, the renter's paying. Oh yeah, and they make like $1,500 a month income as they're doing that. Should you rent or should you buy? You should buy. The rates are gonna drop. Well, I'm gonna wait till the rates drop. When the market explodes and you pay even more.
Right.
You buy now, refi when the rates drop, do a no cost refi. It is so easy to buy. Go rent a home. 2 people fought over that home at $14,000 a month. There's a housing crisis. Go try to rent a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Roseville and Rockland. 40 families will apply for the same house if it's priced reasonable. You know what you do? They went and bought a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Roseville, by Oakmont over there, nice neighborhood. They were the only offer, and they bought the house super easy, and you get 3.5% FHA loan. And
By the way, that loan, Lindsay and their team did that loan, and they also can refi without any additional cost.
absolutely, good job. Thank you for doing that. Thank you. Oh, I'll bring it here. All right. So yeah, and so that happened there. But here's the deal: it's so easy to buy a home. If you think of a renter, if Dylan, what's my kids' names? Ty, I got a bunch of them. I'm like, hey you, it's just hey you guys, come over here. It's dinner time. Get off my leg. Shake them off when they're little, punt them. But here's the deal. If they had went to rent a home, they'd have to compete with a lot of people. They have to pay first, last, and maybe a pet deposit. They have pets, security deposit, right? And they pay immediately, and then the next 30 days they pay again. So let's add all that up. Let's say the rent is $3,000 a month. That's $6,000 plus 30 days later they pay again. That's $9,000. Or they buy a home and they get 100% financing, no money down, USDA. There's ways to do this, and they get started to pay the closing costs. They move in on the 15th of October, and they don't pay anything till December. And December they make their first payment of X. Why you see the difference? It is so easy to buy a house. You need to tell these stories. And facts tell, stories sell. So I'm going to tell another story. And this is a story of a man named Brady, but in this case, we're going to make it Barry. Barry, in the crash in 2010, worked with investors. It caught us all by surprise. I know people who were living in Los Lagos in $5 million homes that now rent apartments in Rockland. They owned 400 apartments. And they owned 200 all cash, nothing owed in Florida. They rolled them into like 600 apartments in Colorado. The market flipped. They lost everything. Be very careful. But we all got caught. Kathy and I had a lot of rentals. We lost every single property. Our home was foreclosed on. We lost our home. We all went through it. No, it was the greatest market correction since the Great Depression. That never happened to your parents. Pop was born in 1935. Mom was born in 1958. He married young. But so here's the deal. Good job.
Jim.
Good go, swinger.
Yeah.
Anyway, so how long have you been married now?
64 years.
Is that accurate? Yeah, Kathy always corrects me. Whatever I say, that's not right. Anyway, she's still here.
No.
Oh, she failed out. Oh, she's there. Okay, no more Kathy stories. You're gone. Anyways, just kidding. And we were married 34 years. It's awesome. But Barry had a client who he invested with, and she was retired, didn't have much money left. Can I tell the story or no?
Yeah.
And he lost her money, and we all did. And it was not a little amount of money.
I didn't know you were telling that story.
Oh,
No, go ahead.
how much was it, Barry? Can you be honest and say how much the amount was?
No,
All right, it was a lot.
it was a lot.
He's like.
And then she wrote it off. She cried.
It's not that I care, it's been a while.
Yeah. So it was a lot of money, like more than you're thinking. And she wrote it off. She cried. I'll never see it again. And a year or two ago,
Yeah.
he went back, he found her, and he paid her all the money.
Oh.
And she cried.
That's the man.
She cried, and she said, "You restored my faith in humanity."
Oh.
And let me tell you what, he's not rich. He's working his butt off at that property management company, and he's not loaded with cash, but he does the right thing. So Barry, I'm very proud of you.
Yeah.
You're the man, Barry. We have an agent here who made a mistake on a cancellation. You remember buyer cancel escrow? And you have to check the box. The earnest money goes to the seller, earnest money goes to the buyer. He just checked the wrong box. He was distracted. And I think it was $4,200 went to the seller. And he went to the buyer and said, I'm so sorry, but I checked the wrong box. Your money's gone. And he didn't really have tons of cash. And the buyer looked at me and said, dude, what are you gonna do about that? And he goes, hands him an envelope, $4,200 in cash.
Wow.
That guy has referred him deal after deal after deal after deal. Is his number one referral person because of what?
You do that right
They
there?
trust.
It's
Then
right
he
there.
introduced them to a business group at like the Lutheran church, and then they all do business with them because the story lives on. So this tragedy about the water heater, about the roof, about something, it's not a tragedy. It's God setting you up for success. And if you have to give up your entire commission, do it. Because guess what? Who do we want to do business with? People we know, like, and what? Trust. How important is trust? If you don't trust someone, you may know them, you may like them, they're this, but man, I don't trust her. I don't trust him. You do business with them? This is a way to establish trust. And so those are important things. So don't worry. What do? We do the right thing. Seek first to what? Understand. Don't just respond. Really, really try to understand the situation, get advice from other people, and then move forward. Don't just go, what? Bam. That's how immature people act. So I want to share that. Moving along. So as we wrap up, I just want to say a couple things. Matt Plummer is going to be here this Thursday, 1 week from today. There is no team meeting. As you know, we always cancel the team meeting and make it the big team meeting. So I could say we cancel, it just becomes the little tiny team. Isn't this awesome? I'm proud of you guys for being here. Be here every week. You're doing great. This is how you chip away, grow, and bring people. Bring your prospects. People love this. I grew my team from 1 to 45 agents on my real estate team. I go, yeah, come Thursday. Everyone comes. Green Access there, Lions, Global Banker. And then they would come and they would join my team. And I went from 1 to 45 agents, buyers agents at once, because I brought people to this. I said, you go back to Lions. I go, I was a guest at Keller Williams events. I was a guest at EXP events. I was a guest in Turo. I almost bought one and said not to, but it's okay to go to Lions. It's okay to go to Remax. We're business people. Learn from Compass. Learn from Sotheby's. Go and do what you got to do. But and so bring people here. It's how you grow. Is you can sponsor them or stock or revenue share. Everyone they tell, more revenue share. Everyone they tell. So it's not a hard deal. But Matt Plummer, 1 week from today, is going to talk about your finances. Isn't it awesome when you're totally out of money? Isn't it great when you can't pay your cell phone bill and it's about to be turned off and all your clients are going to go, what a flake, this number's been disconnected. Isn't it wonderful when you can't pay your insurance or your rent or your mortgage? Isn't it wonderful when you don't have money to put in the gas tank? I've been in all those situations. And I was there in 2009, 2008, 9. It wasn't that long ago, 15 years ago, we were totally broke. I went to an attorney and tried to go bankrupt. So your situation is, this is a high-tech word, it's turnaroundable. Made that one up. You like it? It's turnaroundable. What you see now is the curse from God, is what God's going to use to humble you and to build upon that foundation of humility. Humility, walking with a limp, great place to be. Everybody lives the story of the phoenix rising from the ashes. From your terrible marriage comes a great marriage. From your terrible financial comes a great one. But let me tell you, finances is a learned skill. It's a muscle. And don't you dare miss Matt Plummer next Thursday. He paid off $500,000 worth of debt in like 4 years, $500,000 gone. And he lost 100 pounds. He's super fit. He looks like Steve Hilliard and John Jennings over here. And he lost over 108 pounds. He learned how to do it, but he studied health. He studied finances, and now he has no financial pressure. He traveled the world, he golfs all over the world. He's a crazy golfer. You don't have to sort of maybe kind of, you must be there. You must be front row Take notes. You've got to study it or it will own you the rest of your life.
That's right.
You'll make $1 million and spend it. Trust me, I know. I made 3.8 million and spent it, and now I learned to spend less than I make and invest the rest and develop kind of a cash flow thing. And so we can give more. It's all about, not all about my kingdom, it's about the kingdom. It's about helping others. But if you're such a mess, you can't help anybody, but you're wanting to be rescued. And Tony Robbins said in Fiji the last 16 days, he said it 1,000 times, you need to participate in your own rescue.
Amen.
You need to participate in your own rescue. No, like save me, save me, save me. So this Thursday, when Matt Plummer comes for 2 hours, I want you guys all to come and be the best students you've ever met in your life. Because if you're ready, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Don't just come, okay, I'm supposed to be here. This isn't about lead gen. I need clients, I need a sale. It's not about this. No, it's about way more important than that. You don't have an income problem, you have a spending problem. You have a lack of a plan. If you fail the plan, you plan to fail by definition.
Amen.
You have no plan, you're repeating it year after year. We can trust me, I know. And man, we're not doing that anymore. We have hired people, we invest in people, we go to financial things. I flew all the way to Fiji and spent days and days and days studying finances with Lexi and her husband Matthew and my wife Kathy. So okay, this last part. Oh, Sean Kokoska's coming the next month doing a business planning clinic for 2025. Don't miss it. A PCAR. He was the president of MAPS Coaching, the most famous real estate coaching organization ever on the face of the earth. He's going to be here personally to teach it. Do not miss the business planning event in November. It's all at brentgove.com, and I'm sure you've seen the pictures and all that. I'm gonna say those two things. I mentioned the Christmas party. We got the date, the 19th from 6 to 8. Finally, this last part, I need volunteers. Kathy, you gotta come up here. Come up here with me. So I need volunteers. You may or may not like it, but be honest. Be honest. Who had a birthday in the last 7 days? Raise your hand. First. Who had a birthday in the last 14 days? 1, 2. John?
Oh, a little bit more. Yes.
Well, it doesn't count. So who had a birthday in the last 2 weeks? 2 weeks. Okay, you three. 1, 2, 3. Come up here. Alex, come up here. Come on up. Come on up. Okay, so 14 days. Who had a birthday in the last 21 days? Tom did, and you did. Okay, I have to make a call. I can only have 4 volunteers. You know I love Tom more, so I'm gonna go with Tom. I only said that. We're so close. Tom, get up here. He invited me to Thanksgiving and I just totally blew him off. All right, get up here. Get up here. So I got my 4 volunteers. Do we get more than 4? Oh, I'm counting you. I'm like, there's 5. There's 5. No, it's count. Okay. Vanna, go get it.
Okay.
Go get it. Let's see. Mom, can you help her? Can you help her? Hold the dog. That's right. He holds the dog. Here, I'll help you getting up. There you go. Get up. Help her up. Come on, Mom.
She's
Yeah,
got it.
you too. All right, you too. Never mind. Kathy's like, I'm in. Happy birthday, you guys. We just did a pie. An apple pie. The good ones too. They're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh. They're the good ones. Fresh. We bought them last month. They've been in my car. We went to Apple Hill yesterday around 4 o'clock. High Hill Ranch closes at 5 o'clock every day. If you didn't know that. I didn't know that. I got there for. We bought your donuts, apple juice, and that. So happy birthday, you guys. Johnny, happy birthday. You did. All right, you guys. Have a great day. Enjoy the week. Love you all. See you next week.